something's happening and you're not just reacting to it. Now you are experiencing it and you're understanding where is this coming from and how can I respond differently and how can I create possibility now. Create possibility in my relationship with my family, with my work, with, you know, all the different things that we're constituted by that are sort of the aversions and the triggers, and like, I can't do this thing. Why not? What is the pattern that underlies that I can't do this thing? And how would we be more playful in relationship to that and see what happens? When I afford somebody deep listening, it's not, I'm not entirely separate from them. Like, when somebody's in my field of attention, when I'm having a conversation with them, even on Zoom, they constitute my reality somehow. And again, like you, I don't really track the propositions and the words so closely as I do follow the feeling of where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And the same too with my speech, like I follow the feeling of where it wants to go and be spoken. And this is quite different and radical in relation to what's been before and what we've been taught to do. And I think when we can do that, when we can sort of create that spacious field and listen as if, you know, sort of on a moor or on a plain in nature, not knowing what one is quite listening for, but listening very openly, sort of sharpening to the background, I guess. And when we can sharpen to that background, then things sort of can be heard that aren't usually heard. And this gets more and more subtle. And so somebody is introducing themselves, talking about their life, so forth. Some little thing, some word, some reaction, whatever it is for me one of those little doorways we described. And that doorway, I begin to speculate what that is, because there's all these patterns, right? And part of going into the liminal, part of psychedelic experience is dissolving the existing patterns, going into the more oceanic wishy-washy, and then reconstituting the patterns. And the more we sort of go in and out of that process, the more fluid our pattern recognition thing becomes. I don't want to say software because I'm sick of the technical language, but that capacity becomes heightened, and that is sort of at the foundation of what I'm practicing here with you right now. And I feel it's so interesting because you're not just listening. This is not just something that occurs in conversation, as we said before. It's about the landscape writ large, the landscape of trauma, the landscape of possibility, etc. So to the extent that we can learn, and we very often learn through emulation, this is how I learned to a large degree, as I was drawn to those people. What is that person a symbol of? I don't know, but they're very interesting to me. So I listen more to them and I watch all their videos and I try and speak to them in person. And then something is transferred to me. Now I can do it as well. And in doing that, we can sort of see the patterns of our own lives and see the patterns we're in and living out in our relationships, right? That's what you and me have been through the boot camp and like been workshopping in our life, is noticing the patterns of the past in the present to a sufficient degree that something's happening and you're not just reacting to it. Now you are experiencing it and you're understanding, where is this coming from and how can I respond differently and how can I create possibility now, create possibility in my relationship with my family, with my work, with, you know, all the different things that we're constituted by that are sort of the aversions and the triggers, and like, I can't do this thing. Why not? What is the pattern that underlies that I can't do this thing? And how would we be more playful in relationship to that and see what happens? I don't have a question mark for you, so you're just going to have to riff on that.
Well done. And on top of that, I feel like so much of what we're doing is also creating the home space that is the most restorative, healing, rejuvenation station. Because everything that you just said so beautifully and eloquent, and I can't even imagine trying to say it any differently than what you just did, requires the reason why we are able to sort of be in this boot camp of bringing the background into the foreground and pattern recognition and just really tuning our instrument together is, in order to have that happen, we need to have a station here that we return to that restores us. Because all of this recognizing and deep playing and immersion and seeing things that weren't revealed to us before and communicating about it constantly with one another is made possible through the love and dedication to love that we are in service of. It serves us, and so we are in service of it. Holding hands at dinner time, just taking a moment to give thanks before we eat, and the ways in which we hold one another. You picking up the guitar, or doing your throat, channeling and singing and vibration through vocals, or writing, and the different things that we do, taking walks. All of this allows for more insight to flow in. But at the rate it's been flowing in, it's been so rapid that it's almost like our dedication to love and truth is what's allowing for so much rapid insight. But it's also the thing that we must we must hold dear, because it's the heart space, that heart body mind connection is a big one for us, where we realize like, oh, like there's all these different components that are communicating, and we can feel when our heart is not open. We usually feel that through a signal in our body, or through a certain pattern of thought. And then we realize like, oh, so everything that you just said, which is so beautiful, and I'm so glad that we got this on recording, is we have a station here in our home to be able to practice this and learn, and to just be witnesses of wherever it's taking us, and learning how to restore the energy, because it can be energetically taxing to become more sensitive